What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast, and today on the show, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Gavv, episode 43. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
I'm ready to ride like a Uma in June.
The Pretty Horse Girl anime game has swept the nation, and by nation I mean our Discord as well.
Yeah, everyone seems all about the Horse Girl game, and I don't get it. It just seems like a gotcha game, but for like people that like horse girls, which I feel like have to go on a certain list.
There's definitely there is an element of irony to it that propels it farther than you would think. Like it's very funny playing it, and just being a horse girl and watching the horse girls run is funny enough that it got me through a couple hours of messing with it. And then eventually, yeah, you realize it's like, this is just kind of a mid-level gacha game.
It's by the people who did the Fire Emblem one, and that one I remember we were playing for a long ass time. I think they do Fire Emblem or Grand Blue, one of the two.
One of them.
Psy Games is either Fire Emblem or Grand Blue.
I want to say Fire Emblem because that name is more prevalent in my head, so I think I would have paid more attention to the Fire Emblem developer, but who knows? Who's to say?
You play the horse girls for the stories or for the pictures? Because I feel like you could work the angle of there's a very old, I guess like it's specifically a Playboy joke, but I guess it really applies to any dirty magazine.
Yeah, reading Playboy for the articles.
Said like, oh, yeah, I read Playboy for the articles. And there were articles in there, and there was funny jokes sometimes and stuff. So you could kind of get away with it, but it was also like, who's cutting onions in here? I'm not crying. Same tier of bullshit of just like covering for what you're actually doing.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm the most degenerate of it all, I think, because I wasn't playing it for the horse girls or the story. I was playing it to watch the numbers go higher. I want to watch those numbers get real big. So after the irony of the horse girl became less funny, then I just started like skipping the story. And let me tell you, the majority of that game, primarily the reason to go to that game is the story, because how it works is like there's a bunch of like random events that can trigger based on like who your horse is and who your supporter cards are and how they all interact, and like there's a bunch of like randomness that can pop basically as the story's happening. And when that happens, you go into kind of long cutscenes where the characters talk to each other. So like if you're coming into this game, that has to be interesting to you because there's really not much else to the game other than that. And yeah,
well, it's a horse racing sim.
If
we're going to strip it back, it's a horse racing sim.
But it's a horse racing sim, except the horses won't shut the fuck up. Like,
just like goddamn horses.
These ladies are chatty, let me tell you. So I got to the point where I was just skipping the dialogue just to get to the horse racing and just to get to the part where you click train and the numbers get better and it says success. And that was the part that I liked.
So in general, it's funny that you're mentioning that. I've said it to you definitely over the years on this fine show. Any phone game ever, I don't think I've ever paid attention to the story. And the only gacha games I've ever put a decent amount of time into are the ones that have autoplay buttons.
Yeah.
So effectively, like any phone game I've ever enjoyed or put time into, I'm playing almost exactly zero game, and I'm just pressing auto win and watching levels go up maybe, or like opening gachas here and there. And like, especially the best gacha games, or gacha, whatever, are the ones where like, oh, you're on level 513. Do you want to level up more? Just hit insta win and max out this little counter. So I could basically like open the game, do whatever base ass dailies there were for the day. I would do, like, if I had like 120 stamina and like doing a run was like 20 stamina, I'll just max it out to 6 real quick. I'd probably press insta win. I'd get my little collectibles and shoes for upgrades and XP and whatever else and go, okay, I can close this now. And I close it for like 6 hours. And that's the way I play basically every gacha game ever. I never read any story. I don't care about what fake video game we're doing here. I just never care.
I have uninstalled multiple gacha games because I downloaded them and started them, and they took too long telling me story before they got me to the home menu. Like I've got I
That happens a lot
yeah.
too. Like the first actual stopping point is like level 1-7. That's like first one. Train how to press attack. Train level 1-2. Learn how to press the magic
Yeah.
button. 1-3. Here's how you hit a clip. And like again, all those. It's basically how long do I have to play until the auto button unlocks,
Yep.
and then how effective is this auto button, and then I'm good
Totally.
to go.
I'm with you. Yeah, I don't want. I like games with story when I'm like sitting down to play a game. I have no problem with like in-depth story in games. But on my phone, yeah, I don't want that at all. Like this is not how I'm sitting down to consume this type of content, like story-based gaming. And even if it was, it's like this is all based on this weird hierarchical structure of gacha game, which doesn't lend itself to story for me very well either. So it's like, I don't know, like I just want something very quick to like pop and like give me that dopamine, and then yeah, like I will sit down on the couch and play something on my, whatever, my actual console to get a story game.
Exactly.
I also, speaking of, we were talking about, how long it takes to get to unlock the button. Tutorials in video games. We need to get to the point where we don't do any tutorials anymore. We need to go back to how it was in the NES world, where they just drop you into level 1-1 and they don't tell you shit about how to play the game, and you got to figure it out on your own, and you never knew there was a dash, but that's your fault, idiot, because you never tried all the buttons together. I'm so tired of that, like you were just describing, of like, well, let me teach you how to jump first, and then we got to teach you how to do a double jump. It's like, no, man, I'm just going to tap all the buttons and figure out what they do. Just let me play the game. I hate it. I hate it so much. Tutorials are the worst.
Well, especially like there was more so just from like the actual direct Discord friends and stuff that talk to me. I play videos on my channel. Like from not reading properly, which everyone knows is a problem I have, even though it's not. Like it shouldn't be. I don't retain or read or whatever. Like I made it through 2/3, I would say, of one of the Kingdom Hearts games, if not almost the entire game, before I realized you could switch your Keyblade, because every Keyblade that you got actually had different special abilities. And it took me almost the entire game until I realized I accidentally switched it. And then I was like, oh shit, you can switch this? And this happens more than I would like to admit in a lot of games, where there's like one small thing I don't know you can do. I get through the whole game without doing it. I finish the game. Someone says, did you know you could do this thing? And I say, no. And then they ask like, well, how the fuck did you even beat the game? And it must be like, I'm so like Super Meat Boy is one of my favorite games. And that's basically like slam your head against the wall as hard as possible over and over. Or like Celeste. Like I love those kind of games where it's repetition gets you there. And like, you just brute your force away until you're good enough to do it. So I beat a shitload of games by just brute force and not actually like playing the gimmicks. So it's always impressive to like here in our Discord teases me about it. And like, so does our dear Navigator and other people of like, I don't understand how you play games when you don't actually play the game, but you still beat it. Is basically what I do.
I think any way to beat a game is valid. Like,
Well, like I play on easy, but I'm actually playing on hard because I just set arbitrary rules for myself. I don't know that I'm setting. Is really what I'm saying.
You're like one of those people who plays like the Dark Souls type games, but you go naked and you don't have any weapons and stuff.
Yeah. But the equivalent would be like
I didn't know.
I would start naked in Dark Souls and go, well, I guess there's just no armor in this game. That's cool. I heard this game was hard as fuck. That makes sense. And then I would beat it naked and be like, well, I beat it naked. That's no big deal, I guess. And then I would find out like 5 minutes later, like you could have had full armor and defense and your health could have went up and everything else.
All right. Well, maybe there's like a middle ground then where like I can skip the tutorial, but like Toby can have it because he needs it or something.
But I'm not going to remember it anyway. That's really the problem.
Yeah, that's fair.
They might tell me.
Because I will say, I do appreciate the games that do the tutorial pop up when it's relevant instead of like making you sit through it all at the beginning. Like the WWE game is awful because you can avoid their tutorial, but if you go through their tutorial, they walk you through every possible function that the game can do, and you instantly forget all of them, right? Because you're not doing them in context. It's just like, okay, now you're going to walk up and press this weird random combination of buttons, and we've set the other wrestler up in the exact spot he needs to be for this to work again. But then when you actually get in a match, of course, like you're never remembering. He needs to be here. I need to press these buttons. This all needs to be the correct thing. But I like games that like in the game, when you get to that point, it'll do like a quick little pop-up. It's like, hey, remember, you can toss this guy over the top rope by pressing these buttons or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Zelda does that, actually. The Breath of the Wild game does that pretty well, where it's like, by the way, like, when it unlocks an ability, it's like, just so you know, you can do this. That's the way to go.
And especially too, like when it's with your dynamic thing, but at least be able to turn it on and off. Like most of the newer Yakuza games have gotten worse about always popping shit up on the side. Like don't forget you can switch stances, you can do this, and there's a prompt that says skip. And especially in the last one, the pirate one I just played, skipping it skips it, but it will tell you again down the road. And I don't need it to keep telling me, and it also doesn't actually have a function to turn off the in-game tutorials. So I couldn't get away from it. And then I would scream at the computer like, "You told me to switch stances like 30 times now. I've switched stances. I told you to stop telling me to switch stances, and yet you keep telling me." I'm just getting frustrated.
Yeah, that is frustrating. Also, a nice place in game hell is for the games that do let you skip the tutorial, but then like have an achievement or something for completing the tutorial, and you don't get it if you skip the tutorial. Those games can burn in hell.
That's a bad one. And if they let you skip the tutorial, but you can't go into like the start menu and go to controls or go to like tutorial again to like just read what the thing is. Because I've definitely fucked myself once or twice with that, where like I've skipped something down the road. I've realized like, oh, I need to remember how to do that, and it's not anywhere to be found. Then you have to sit there and Google like, so how did I jump in this game? And then you're just like, oh, you're supposed to press ~R, and you're like, oh yeah, I vaguely remember this now. That's a pain in the ass too.
I played the Matrix trilogy game when I was young. I think that was the one that was on the I think that was the one that was on the PS2. Whatever the cool, it was, maybe it was Enter the Matrix. Yeah.
It was, because it was Enter the Matrix, and it had, when you beat it, the ending was a like 2-minute mini movie that tied between whatever Matrix 2 and 3.
Oh, that sounds cool as hell.
Or 1 and 2. So there was actually a specific reason why, like, if you were a Matrix fan, you wanted to play the game and beat it. And I forget which one it filled I think it filled the gap between 1 and 2, because 2 went directly into 3.
Yeah.
If I remember it. Yeah, so it was definitely between 1 and 2. Then.
So,
but yeah, that was the special unlock for beating.
I'm a big Matrix fan, and that's why I wanted to play this game when I was young. And I played this game, and I got really good at it. Like, it's one of those games where it's like, in order to play it, you have to kind of internalize the controls like really well, and you got to remember like all your specials and stuff, and like you really, it all becomes second nature when you're playing. And that was great. And I played it up until, I believe, like the very last level of the game or whatever. Like I knew I was at the very end. And for whatever reason, I think maybe like we went on vacation or something, and I didn't play the game for like 2 weeks straight. And I came back and I was like, all right, now I'm ready to beat this game. I sit down to play it, and I just forgot all the muscle memory. I lost the edge. And at that point, the game's so hard that I was like, I literally can't do it. Like, I can't make it through. And I never beat the stupid game, so I never got to see the dumb movie that you're talking about.
I feel like that Matrix game specifically was Max Payne, but the Matrix, because they could actually use bullet time in the Matrix.
I think that's right.
Sense.
Yeah, I think that is what it was. My memory of it is like you had also a bunch of like skills that you had to put in like specific button combinations to do. That might not be exactly right, but that's like the real fuzzy memory I have. And those were just completely out of my mind when I went back to the game.
I feel like the two characters, there's either one character or two, and it was Will Smith's wife at the time, or I think still, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah.
You played as her, and I think one other random Matrix person, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Or it might have just been her the whole time.
I think there were two. That sounds right. Here. Yeah, I'm looking at the box. There's two. It's her and some guy.
I'm an encyclopedia bullshit.
You are. I'm impressed that you remembered all that. Yeah. That is really impressive. The Matrix that's a good series of movies. Like, I know that like people definitely clown on the second one especially. So I guess like second and third, but
for the rave sex scene.
Yeah, like that was pretty cringe.
Which everyone had that's when it jumped the shark for me. That's when I was like, this is a little bit extra.
But then did you ever see the fourth Matrix movie that they did like way later?
Yeah, like it was like last year or maybe 2 years ago tops.
I think it's like way longer than that. Let me look it up.
Oh no.
I think
But anyway,
this
yeah.
is one of those time things where it all is like, oh, that was like 50 years ago, and you don't remember. 2021 is when that one came out.
Okay, that's a little bit longer.
Yeah,
than I
like
thought.
4 years
But
ago.
yeah, I watched it when it came out, and then I watched it again recently because I rewatched the whole trilogy again and like straight through it just to
Oh, nice.
get a vibe of how like if it worked better when you go straight through. And that one was just weird. Like I know what they were trying to do. It's just weird having old people do the same things now.
Sure.
As dumb as it sounds, like before we started the podcast, I was telling Josh about how I saw my favorite band do their 35th anniversary tour, or 35-year anniversary tour, whatever. And at some point, like I'm older. Josh said I'm unk, which is a very infuriating term. I think it's stupid, but like I'm glad all these people still do the things they want to do. I think it's cool that like my favorite band in the world still goes on tour, so I can still like go see my favorite band in the world. But like the fire is not there that used to be, I guess, is the best way of putting it. And that's the same way I felt about like the new Matrix movie. It seemed like it was more like we want to do one more of these, and we're just going to lean so heavy into like Matrix fame and just meme on it and dunk on it and stuff. But then like Keanu Reeves looks old and he was like a worn down developer for video games.
Yeah.
And like it just seemed too real. It's like, yeah, that actually like checks out. Like he's probably just some like 50-year-old dude now who just stares at the computer all day and types, and then, well, I need to fight now, but I can't because I'm super old.
That was kind of the part about it that I loved, like that movie specifically. I think the first like 2/3 of that movie, like the first 2 acts are incredible, and then when they try to like make it a movie, that's when it
when they have to like actually do the Matrix thing at the end
that's
again.
when it sucks, when they has to be the Matrix. But up until that, it feels like a movie that is just saying like, fuck you to people who like the Matrix, and that's kind of awesome. Like I really liked that about it. I'm just like, oh, you wanted you wanted a 4th Matrix movie? Well, too bad, we're doing this other weird thing instead. And I thought that's really cool. Like, anytime someone gives the big old double bird to their fan base, I'm pretty into it usually. You know, kind of like in Metal Gear Solid 2 when you played as Raiden for the whole game. That was cool too.
That was the swerve of the century. That pissed off a lot of people.
It certainly did. But I was a big fan. Even as a kid, I was like, this is cool that they took it away from you, that you don't get to play as Snake. So maybe that says a lot more about me than anything else.
Get that DIY grind attitude.
Yeah, that's it. All right, Toby, let's jump over and let's talk about some Kamen Rider. Let's do that.
Let's.
Of course, as we do that, I want to remind everyone that we do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/thecommentwriters is where you can find that. For $3 a month, you get access to all of our bonus content that we put out every week. We have watched a whole bunch of tokusatsu on there, and you get access to all of it for $3 a month. Patreon.com/thecommentwriters. And today on the show, Toby, we're talking about Kamen Rider Gavv, episode 43, not 34.
See, getting confused.
I'm getting all wrapped up.
Getting old. Getting unk.
I'm unk over here. I called you unk because I am unapologetically unk as well at this point. I just lean into it.
Well, yeah. Well, why you said it was fine. I just it's much like all the other Mimi things I hate.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
I hate it.
Just don't like it.
Yeah, like people lean into jokes too hard. Like calling someone who's turning 30 unk one time is funny. One time. And then if you just keep doing it, then it's like, oh my God, this is the most ridiculous. Like, please shut up. Please just shut up. Stop talking. So that's me. That was the same way of like in high school. Like when you would watch Monty Python. Great, that's a funny movie. When the idiot kid who's not funny quotes it for the 100th time that week in high school, then it's not funny anymore. Yeah. It's just... Anyway, Kamen Rider.
Kamen Rider knee. Let's go.
This was an episode I think that was a little bit more talky, you know, moving some things along. But if you remember, we ended the last episode with Hanto revealing that he had continued the search for Shoma's mother and her family, kind of behind Shoma's back. And we picked that up. Shoma's really not upset about that fact. Like, I thought it might be a thing where he's mad at Hanto for an episode or two, But he's really not. He's mostly just like, oh, okay, that's a thing you did. All right.
So you did it, and you have information.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me things I want to know?
And he doesn't really have too much more information. He mostly was trying to keep things under wraps. But as he's telling Shoma, I'm just gonna call him the uncle. The uncle calls Hanto and wants to set up another meeting, and Shoma wants to be there for it. That meeting. We'll talk about that meeting first. Then we'll kind of circle back to what's going on in the bad guy world, because that's what we see next here. But the Hanto basically invites the uncle over to Happy Pare, and Sachika,
because he has information. Because obviously the two angles or the two sides of this are like obviously Hanto knows Shoma's uncle information now, but because Hanto was bugging Shoma's uncle with things of like, hey, so you had a sister, oh, she went missing, oh, like the uncle realized Granoots are a thing, they're monsters that eat people, and like Hanto basically dug two holes on opposite sides of his life, and both people are like climbing out of their holes now of like, hey, like I want more information about this though, please. Like you started this, let's finish it. What else is going on here? Hook me up.
The uncle in the one hole though, I feel like after this meeting should just run. Like this was the creepiest meeting he'd ever been to in his life, and maybe he was just like a little too distraught to notice it. But like Sachika's there, Shoma's there. He recognizes Sachika from his recent hypnosis that he clearly is, still recovering from. So he knows that she's involved in some way. And then Shoma's over there just acting like a weirdo, staring at him the whole time.
He's very tense. It's like Hanto was like, hey, do you want to meet my friend? She'll go on a date with you. And then Shoma's like, I've been creeping her for weeks.
Yeah.
I think she might notice me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, she's actually here now.
He literally has a line of like, I feel nervous now that I know he's my uncle. Okay. That's weird. So the uncle, of course, like demands to know information. Like, were you investigating the Granoot disappearances or whatever? And then he apologizes, calms himself down. And Hanto does end up telling him that, yes, that's what I'm doing, but like that's kind of all I can tell you at this point. And Shoma, seemingly at one point was going to speak up and tell him the details, but decides not to.
Until he saw the reaction. It was basically until he saw him freaking out. And then even Uncle Shoma got so nuts that he scared the shit out of Gochizos, who broke a vase. And then Sachika's like, oh shit, I gotta clean that up now. And he luckily just thought from him screaming he broke something.
Yeah.
He didn't realize that little alien monsters were running around the room and screaming and getting scared and everything else.
Could you imagine if he had noticed the Gochizos and then they all just have to like bar the door and be like, we can't let you leave. We have to explain this.
There's no other options at that point. He either adapts or you take him out.
Yeah, exactly. He ends up leaving, and they don't really get too far from that. But Shoma again is a little distraught about whether he's like gonna tell him or gonna not tell him. And then of course things are happening over in the stomach world. Back at the palace, Nielv is reporting to the president, about his current work, and he's ramping up production of his dark treats. And we find out that the election is coming up in Granoot World. So I don't know if there's anyone running opposed to the president here, but we are nearing the election. So they do still have elections, apparently.
And like that only because again we're so close to the end of the show that like last week was a lot of talking and just doing story stuff. This week was a lot of talking, doing story stuff. And I was thinking about it where like we were watching Don Brothers, and basically at the same point every week when we're like 16 minutes into the show, I always say to Josh, wow, we're like, I always happen to look down at the clock at that specific amount of time, about 16 minutes. And I say, Josh, this is another weird episode. It's really just like a slice of life thing where you wouldn't even know there's monsters in the world until like the last quarter of the show. And then a monster comes and they kill it. And like Gavv's doing the same thing now, but at least I know they're trying to wrap up the stories they have open, which is the thing we've complained about for other seasons of they leave things open and don't finish it. But it's just really weird to have like two full-blown mainly conversational episodes that are just dealing with like the group.
I will say, in Gav's defense, when they do get to the fighting in these episodes, they get to the fighting. Like it's pretty good once they actually.
They still go just as hard, just as extra.
But yeah, they have wrapped themselves up into very, very like talky, story focused, interpersonal drama focused things right here. We find out that Lascelles is going to be accompanying the president on what he calls a survey to the human world. She's very excited about going sightseeing with him, but he's going
to come check this shithole out.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to know what the Earth is like because he's gonna be in control of it soon, obviously. So he wants to assess what he can use and what he can't.
If I'm gonna burn this place down, I might as well see what's down there first. It might be a cool place.
Exactly. And then yes, when we get to see them heading into the real world finally, and we get to see, Toby, the president's human form.
I laughed that it's so absurd that like the voice they use when he talks, like they can't actually be his voice.
No,
right?
God, no. It's definitely not.
Because he looks the girl that plays Lascelles, I know it has to be super young. Like I feel like Kamen Rider does a good job of whoever the sassy sidekick young girl is usually like sub 18 as an actress in real life.
Yeah.
And the guy they find to play her dad / the president of their country looks maybe 2 years older than her tops. Like he's like flowing blonde hair, baby faced as hell, looks no more than like 20, like can't legally drink in America age. And he has the deep booming voice that sounds very important about everything.
Yep. Apparently Lascelles' actress is 15, so you're very correct. That they get the young people for that role, and she certainly even too is like she plays up the baby aspect of it even, even though she is young, she's most of her character is like, oh, but daddykins, like she's she is that person for sure.
No, but that 15-year-old was actually like 35.
That's true. That's true. I had the opportunity to say daddykins though, so I wanted to slip
perfect.
it in. Yeah. But yeah, it is so absurd which is funny because it also like it highlights how much he doesn't care about like appearances or like anything to do with the Earth, because it almost is it gives the vibe of like, throw me in anybody, it doesn't matter, I don't care, like whatever whoever it is, I don't need it to look like I'm actually my daughter's father or anything like that. It's okay, just I'll take a body.
I feel like a young stud on the inside, so I might as well take the form of a young stud on the outside as well.
And also there's a little bit too, exactly, there's a little bit of it too where it's like he seems like the type of president who would make you paint him really thin if you were doing an official portrait, right? Like why don't you like put me on a horse and like give me abs? He seems like that type of guy. So like of course his human form is going to be incredibly young and like flowing hair. Also, again, not to make fun of people's personal appearances, but they clearly picked this guy for a reason. He is a creepy looking dude. Like they give him that like long, like bleached hair, and then they give him these like contacts that are like bright blue eyes. And he is uncomfortable to look at, which is perfect, like perfectly cast. And then yeah, putting that deep booming voice over him too. I really, really like the human form that they came up with here. And he is he's a menace in the Earth world here. He's walking around. He's like, oh, there's a lot of buildings. I guess we could eat these.
That was also like one of my favorite stupid things they did, where like I know Rakia has made jokes about like, I just want to eat my rocks, and they're like, we're all like, ha ha ha, like he eats rocks, no big deal. And then it's just crazy because they go to, it's basically like a skyscraper, and they stand next to the wall or one of the support beams, and the president's like, oh, we should really taste how this tastes just to see how it tastes.
Bring a sample.
And she's like, no, like it's gross. People use it. And he's like, this is for the poor. Just don't worry about it. But the way he was making the conversation, I expected him to bite the wall like Willy Wonka style because his face was right next to it. And like Rakia eats the rocks. It's not like it's some weird, like, he he doesn't take his hand and smash the rock and just go, delicious. Like, he actually eats the rocks. So I thought the president was going to take a bite out of the building. And instead, he does like a tsunami wave sound blast and just completely levels the whole thing. It was like, that was a thing. That's all right.
Yeah, he like basically like does like a swipe at it like a cat would do. Like when a cat swats at something, he kind of does that, and it levels the whole building, as you said. And then he and his daughter are just casually walking out of the rubble, just carrying a piece of the building. Just like,
and she's like, I don't know that you should have did it necessarily. And he's like, no, who the hell cares? It's mine soon anyway.
Yeah, whatever, it's fine. Of course, he does encounter Rakia there. Rakia sees Lascelles and gets to be like, well, who's this guy that you're with? And Rakia quickly finds out that he's trouble because Rakia tries to fight the butlers and gets his ass beat. Really, this is what happens to Rakia. He just kind of gets annihilated, and then they decide to leave, and that's when he realizes she calls him Papa as they're leaving, and he's like, Papa, and realizes that it's her father.
Yeah, because like that all was at least all tied to. They kicked his ass, but it's because they kicked the driver or the buckle over away from him, so he couldn't henshin. And then they beat him up, and they were like, "Oh, you're kind of garbage and weak." And they say like, "Oh, well, the other Granute hunters will show up soon. I can almost guarantee it. If we beat him up, we'll just wait for them now. Fuck it."
I thought that kicking the driver away was pretty cool. Like, I love anytime that we can like interact physically with the ability to henshin. I think that's always funny. And we'd never seen full on you get your driver taken away really that often. Usually it's like the Gochizo gets lost or something, but full on kick the driver away was great. So then we do see more of Shoma being a little bit of a mope about whether he's going to tell the uncle or not, and he ends up kind of asking, or I guess Hanto maybe kind of volunteers, like the fact that he is happy that he found out the truth about his mother. Like he's glad that he gets to sort of like close the book on that investigation. He knows what happened, even if it's bad news. He's glad that he knew. So
yeah, and even said like because even again like all the like I said last week, I've said most of the season, like all the human shit they do is always so good. And again, this was one of the times where it was like Hanto's speech was basically like, yeah, you and I had our problems once I realized, and that was mostly me being a dick to you, then you didn't do anything wrong to me. But he's like, but by the end of it, like, I at least knew what happened to my mom. Like, we're friends now. I get it. He's like, I got over it. You know, I'm just giving you my own personal example of this, but you know, worse things could happen.
And again, the end result of all of this, I think, is also a really cool human thing that the show writes in, because that conversation kind of convinces Shoma, okay, I'm gonna tell him, right? Like Hanto feels good that he knows the truth. Like, I'm gonna tell the uncle about this, so at least he'll have the answer, right? He won't be worrying anymore. So Shoma marches over to give him the news, and in their discussion, like, he's talking about the sister, right? He's like, oh, you know, I ended up buying the sweet shop because she really loved it, and I wanted to kind of keep her memory alive. And Shoma asks him, basically, it's like, oh, so like, you know, would you want to know, like, why were you talking to Hanto? Like, would you want to know the answer? And he basically explains that he called Hanto because he wanted Hanto to tell him he was wrong. That it's like he did it out of fear is kind of his explanation. He wanted to find out that Hanto wasn't investigating the Granutes because he actually kind of secretly doesn't want to know the real answer.
Yeah, because he says his exact line was, "I have a weak heart.
Yeah,
I don't really want to get upset by this." Basically,
and then like Shoma, of course, like reels it back and doesn't tell him the full truth, and then ultimately decides not to kind of ever, at least as of right now. And I think that's such a cool thing where like it's two sides of the same coin. Like Hanto's a strong person and is happy that he knows, and this guy like knows himself well enough to know that he's too weak to know the real answer. And it's cool that Shoma got to like do that switch kind of like in fly.
Yeah, that was great. And then the whole actual scene with Shoma hanging out at the candy store and them getting to like bond over the sister / mom, whatever, without actually having that conversation. I think was done really, really well because there's 3 specific things that I wrote down that were like the parts that jumped out to me. And like, obviously the show can set them up. And it's not like real life where you're like, oh shit. Like I always say the phrase my dad said, and it's not like that. But it was fun because when he was explaining how much Shoma's mom loves sweets, like the show flashback to her eating and she yells delish just like Shoma does, which I thought was a fun little silly one. The brother is like, hey, you're eating entirely too many desserts before dinner. You're going to like ruin your appetite. And she says, I have a second stomach for desserts. And I thought that was hilarious because Shoma has his fake second stomach, or I guess the same. He has the fake one.
But I don't know if he has another one. Maybe he does because he's half human. He might actually have 2.
Wait, no. Well, right. Like he has his stomach and then he has a Gavv.
Yeah.
So I took that as the second one.
I'm with you.
So I was like, that's a sweet nod, joke, ha ha ha, wink, whatever. And then as just like the personal aspect of it, like most people never get to see if people like set things up in remembrance of them. If someone was like, oh, my child died early, so I got them this play area, or I bought this play area because my kid loved the jungle gym. I want other kids to be able to play, like that kind of stuff. Like people you would never get to see the memorial things that people do for you because obviously you're not around. So I thought it was cool that like the uncle made the candy shop and kept it for the mom in case she ever came back. And it's cool that like her son gets to see and use the candy shop that his uncle made for his mom because she's not around this.
Yeah, that is.
So I thought that was like a nice.
That is really cool. It also, like the other, I guess, aspect of Shoma deciding not to tell the uncle. It's like it's actually very selfless of Shoma because he's committing to never having the uncle as family then too, right? Like he's not just protecting the uncle, he's cutting himself off from having family. which is kind of sad when you think about it. Like he's choosing to be isolated to protect this guy that doesn't even know that he's related to him.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Like at least for like a vaguely maybe happy part of this, like obviously as long as he keeps his uncle's store safe and protected, like he can just like go to, like the dude knows that Shoma loves candy.
Yeah, true.
So Shoma showing up on a regular basis really means nothing other than like, this is a nice kid. He likes shopping here. This is fun. So like at least Shoma can always visit his uncle and he knows those two are close, barring the family stuff. So it's like he gets his family, but he doesn't. Like there's not the direct acknowledgement, but at least like Shoma still has the person.
Yeah, he gets to be in his life still a little bit. Yeah. Then of course we do have our big battle at the end.
Oh wait, no wait. So before that, so the uncle made he gave Shoma melon jelly,
right,
or gummy jelly, whatever, which is what like he was like, oh, like my sister loved this too. It's what prompted the whole thing. So Shoma pooped out a melon jelly gochiza. So it's in the pudding cup form. So I don't know if Shoma's going to get to use it, but whatever gochiza that is, that's obviously going to be like the ultimate final form. I'm going to win this battle with my mom's love vibe of gochizas.
That's true. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it in terms of like it's tied to the mom extra.
Yeah. So it's definitely be like my friends are my power kind of vibe of thing.
For sure. And I'm guessing because it's the pudding, it's got to be Rakia that does it, or I guess Hanto can he do pudding stuff? I forget. Can he put the pudding thing on top of his? I can't remember.
Yeah,
because he does the frappe stuff, right? But I don't know if they fit in the same socket or not.
I'm not sure.
I'm not either.
So either Shoma gets a driver adapter, or it like saves Rakia somehow, and then like Rakia goes crazy, or I guess too. I mean, for like intense with it, they could like rip Rakia's driver off. We know the pudding cups could probably be cloned by Pidgey.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So maybe you could get like a second driver just to use the mom's jelly cup thing. I mean, obviously there's ways to work around it. I just think it's only tied to Rakia as of now.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Speaking of Pidgey, Nielv is doing some experiments this episode too. We didn't touch on any of that. Basically, he's training Jeeb to get stronger, which is working. Except,
And they have their own danger room.
Yeah.
That was all I could think of.
they have their own danger room that is made up of like a couple LED light strips, and then those things that are like weird LEDs that you can like touch with your fingers, and then they light up on the ends. Like, it's very funny if you look at like the actual individual elements of the danger room. They clearly just went to like their local decoration store and bought some things.
Went to Costco, got whatever was on sale.
Yeah.
It's to get some LED strips, we're good to go.
Yeah, so he's training Jeep up in the danger room, but then at the end we kind of find out at the very end of the episode that it seems like Jeeb isn't quite up to snuff as far as what Nielv is looking for, and Nielv has this very ominous talk of working with someone else. We don't know who that someone else might be, but they're foreshadowing it for sure.
Yeah, I guess there's not a ton of options, obviously, but like he lingered on looking at Shoma in Gavv form.
Yep.
So I don't know if it means kidnapping him, or then like from us talking about now, I wonder if he's gonna tell Jeeb to turn into his sister first, and then be like, "Look, you're more powerful this way." Blah blah blah.
Maybe. I think my dark horse theory is that, I think Nielv is like the ultimate opportunist, and I think maybe he's seeing how powerful Gavv is and his friends are, and he's gonna try to jump ship and side with them, to try to like be on the right side of history because he thinks Gavv is gonna win ultimately, and that's why he was looking at the picture of Gavv.
That'd be a hell of a fun way to do it. He's just like, you know what, brother? You're all right.
Yeah. How about you don't kill me? Is that okay with everyone? Anywho, jumping back to the battle then at the end, we do get to see a little bit of fighting with Hanto and Shoma and a couple of the agent butlers that spawn out. This was a cool fight because we get to see the butlers fighting, and we get to see Shoma spawning his little like whipped warrior guys, which are very fun. So there was a lot of very, very clever choreography involving those guys and the butlers. There's a lot of really cool stuff.
We've seen I think let's call them decorations or something, but we've seen them do other fun stuff before. But like this time specifically, like Shoma was standing on a railing between, it was like on top of a building. There was a railing for protection. There was like a foot wide gap between buildings, and then there was another railing / building on the other side. And like he almost fell off the railing, but one of the decorations put their spear through the holes in the railings to make him a platform. And he was like, "Oh, thanks for the extra step." And then the other one put their spear through the railings, and he just had like a place to stand. So they definitely did like way extra little nods or things of like, "Hey, look, he has helpers. They're gonna do whatever they can to help him."
Yeah, that's so cool. And then I love whenever those guys show up because then eventually they can die spectacularly too, right? Like they get to get squished eventually, but they're fun to have around when they're there. And then of course the end we get to see the president go into his full Granute form, and he essentially like nonchalantly explodes Shoma and Hanto so dramatically that they unhension, and it kind of ends the whole battle because his explosion is like. It just engulfs the whole area. Like he clearly has so much power in like one finger that it matches what Shoma and Hanto can do.
Yeah, like he pretty much just like he firebombs the whole alley they're standing in.
So it'll be very exciting when they finally have to confront him full power fighting him. So it should be pretty good. But I think we're barreling that direction now that the president is getting physically involved himself. Like he's on Earth. He's like directly involved in battle now. We're inching closer and closer to the end here.
To ask my usual question, do we know how long the show is yet? Like, do we know when Zetsu's starts?
I think it started in. Let me look it up. I thought they said like September. Is that right?
So No, because that gives us too many more episodes.
Yeah, that's a
I feel
lot,
like.
right? How many episodes would that be?
8, I think we'll call it.
Maybe
I mean, maybe 7. I mean, it might stop at 50 again. But I feel like, I don't know. I don't necessarily, it's a weird thing to just be like, I want to know when the show stops. But I want to know when the show stops because I don't know how much more backstory and build up we're going to do to the president battle. And if we're going to do the president battle, like, I want to know if it's like X-Aid where we win and there's still like three episodes left.
Yeah.
Or we're going to stop when it just stops, or I want to know too much. I'm basically fishing for spoilers I don't want.
You are, yeah. Have you did you see the second Zet's like promo video that they put out?
No, so to me, I saw too much already.
Okay.
I know everyone gets excited and starts sharing stuff. So I could have went without seeing what he actually looked like and everything else, but at this point, I'm going to actively avoid any spoilery information I can.
So I did go look up the original tweets from July 5th. Kamen Rider Zetsu premiering September 2025 in Japan is how they worded it. Now that I'm seeing that,
So we're gonna get it late. So we're gonna get it like October, November in America.
It does sound like we're getting it late. Now that I reread the tweet that I got so excited about before, they do say premiering September 2025 in Japan. Broadcast and streaming are scheduled to air in, and then they list out the countries. So they do very specifically say in Japan for 2025 September. But nonetheless, let's calendar it up here for just a moment, if we will. Because this is July. So if we had an episode, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more episodes at a minimum.
So we are going the full 50 then.
Yeah. Seems that way.
Okay. I mean, just like I'm not trying to rush the show, nor do I just want it to end just to end, but I'm just curious so basically we know the president came down, he wants to blow up the world. We know we're getting dangerously close to Shoma and his uncle wrapping up whatever that's going to be. So at this point, it just feels like we're running out of things to do. And this is where I feel like we get into that weird gray area of like, we just add story to fill this out. And that's the part that concerns me.
Well, yeah. And I mean, even not from a negative perspective, like, it's interesting to know when the end is, because then you can start to you can guesstimate some of that pacing, right? Like, oh, we don't have time to get into that, but like we would have time to get into this, or like, oh, they clearly are going to have to work through this pretty quickly if they're introducing this element. Like, those are things we can start predicting better when we know more of a firm ending for sure. But it's still plus or minus 4 episodes because they just said September, so it could be the 1st of September, could be the very, very end. But nonetheless, that is Kamen Rider Gavv for us for the week. Let us instead now transition over to emails, Toby.
Ooh.
We have an email address, which is cast@kamenridersucks.com. Once again, that is cast@kamenridersucks.com. You can send us in emails if you would like to do that. You can talk about anything that you want. We'll read it on the show. This week, we have an email from our friend Shade. Shade says, do you think they make Granute president memes on Granute Twitter like we do on our human Twitter? That is a good question.
I think it just depends how much they like him or dislike him.
Or how firmly he punishes dissidents. That maybe also is part of it too. If you make a funny meme about the president and then a butler shows up at your house and kills you, there's probably not going to be too many of those.
That is true.
Shade says, hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of The President Killing People for Candy. This week's episode was an emotional one. Every scene with Shoma's uncle in this episode just makes my heart break. For half the episode, I swear, my face was just, and I think that this is a crying image, but it's not showing up for us.
Oh, no.
I know.
Now I'll never know what the true emotion
Emails are broken. Shoma says, how do you even begin to explain to that man about what happened to his sister? Anyway, there's a lot of interesting, fun, behind-the-scenes trivia on today's producer blog, so I'll just be covering some news today. First off, I'd like to give a shout-out to a new, up-and-coming Chinese tokusatsu series, Extreme Vanguard Batar, which is a very cool name, and it looks very cool. Shade says it is a Kamen Rider inspired tokusatsu show made by an independent toy company in Japan.
That's genius, because if you want to sell those toys, you make a Kamen Rider.
That's how you do it. There's what the poster looks like if you would like to see it. Shade says, interestingly, the company is currently funding the show themselves with no sponsors, all because the company's founder is a fan of tokusatsu. The show is relatively low budget, but they did get the famous toku director Koichi Sakamoto to work on their show, so it won't be clumsily made like your regular independent toku show. Be sure to check it out if you're interested. Episode 1 of the show is out right now with fan subs. They have fidget spinners as their gimmick, which is pretty neat. That's amazing.
That's a real good, cheap way to have some toy to play with to do henshins.
That truly is, yeah. I do think the actual like main guys on the poster look pretty cool. Like I would have to look at it actually in motion in the episode, but from the poster, it looks pretty neat.
They both look cool, and they also look like when I tell the AI to make Kamen Riders, to be honest with you.
A little bit, yeah. If you want to skip around the episode, there's the link to the actual episode as well. I did see, was that yeah, it was like a white guy at the very beginning of the episode. So that's exciting.
I will have to look later.
I'm skipping through it right now, and yeah, it doesn't look like extremely low budget. Like it doesn't look like a fan film. It looks pretty much like a regular tokusatsu. I wouldn't think a thing about it if I was flipping through channels in Japan, I guess. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. But anywho, back to the email. Shade says, next up, the full trailer for Kamen Rider Gavv and Gozugur's summer movie has been released. We get a first look of the movie-exclusive forms that will appear in the film. Do you want to be spoiled on what Gav's form looks like or not?
No, because on the off chance we watch it, I'll wait to experience that.
Okay. I will tell you that the name is it's Hexenheim, which is inspired by Hexenhaus, which is the German name of the witch's house from Hansel and Gretel. So there's a little backstory for you.
That's fun. That's definitely candy snack coated.
Yeah. I'll maybe skip some details of the look of it for you here. And we'll move on to some more news about Zetsu. Shade says there's a lot of Zetsu news, so buckle up. They released a second preview, thankfully without AI this time, showcasing the Zetsu driver. So yeah, we got a better look at what the driver looks like here. And it is cool. It lights up all over the place. Shade says there are currently rumors out there that the actor in this preview is the lead actor for Zetsu himself, I would imagine. People have actually identified the actor based on the glimpse that we saw, which is crazy because you don't ever see his face. But since everything is still just a rumor, I won't be talking about that. What I will be talking about is that Kamen Rider Zetsu was promoted at a convention in China, so we have a lot of info on Zetsu's forms and merchandise. We have footage of a promotional video on how the Zetsu driver will work. We have footage of the driver on display, plus the sounds, and Shade links videos for those two things. The gimmick item is called the Capsem, I guess is what it seems like it is now. And it works like a zoetrope, which, by the way, fun fact, is a gimmick that's been used before in Shinkenger. We have a better look at the suit thanks to an image of a Zetsu statue figure. And then finally, we have a look at the other forms. So there are different colors of the kind of the main rider suit, and he clearly will be shifting between the three colors. The base form with the red eyes is called the Physicam Impact. The blue form...
It sounds intense.
It does. The blue form is called Technolom Stream. The green form is called Esprim Recovery. And the purple form is called Paradigm Wonder. So each form has its own weapons. They like a sword or an axe or a bow. But I feel like the forms themselves look fairly similar, just different colors. But yeah,
that makes the most sense.
Yeah, but we'll come with different weapons. Shade says, from my very professional and expert opinions, I like the suit's designs. They're also taking the form changes back to basics as well, for the first few episodes at least. Zetsu's form changes are mostly just color changes with some minor design changes on the chest. Judging by the names and weapons, each form will specialize in one particular ability, depending on combat situations. Some fun facts about the history of Kamen Rider form changes. Although the concept of form changes has been done before, the first Kamen Rider to properly change forms back and forth like you see today is Kamen Rider Black RX. However, his form changes are incredibly random, both visually and power-wise, to the point where they barely even look like the same guy. One form has the ability to become liquid, the other has Robocop powers, etc. It's not until Ultraman Tiga from 1996 that a more coherent and simple system of form changing would be introduced.
What are Robocop powers?
Like being a robot, I guess?
Okay. I mean, because Robocop's powers was he got shot, got parts blown off him, and then got like a robot body sewn back to him, and now he eats baby food. Like that, none of those really seem like powers to me necessarily.
You know, I've never seen RoboCop. I didn't know about the baby food situation. Why does he eat baby food?
I don't know. I mean, I guess effectively it's like eating Soylent.
Oh.
Because he's a robot and still has like some human body parts, but it's definitely baby food. I'm 99% sure they specifically even call out it as baby food.
Feels like a weird movie, RoboCop. As someone who's never seen it, but has absorbed it.
It's super famous. You should see it. It's very violent.
Yeah.
And then you can feel broken like the rest of us. And you can say, I'd buy that for $1, and you can get the reference.
Yeah, I already knew that the reference was from was from
but you don't
RoboCop.
Get it.
I don't get
but
it.
You don't get
I don't get
exactly.
it. No, but I knew it. It's like Monty Python. It's like violent Monty Python.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Ultraman Tiga. I don't know which way I'm supposed to say that. I'm going to say Tiga. Tiga has a strength form, red, a speed form, purple, and his base form is a mix of the two. He can change between them back and forth depending on the situation. What's so special about this design choice is that he maintains his recognizable look throughout each form, which then becomes the philosophy for designing form changes for future toku series. Many toku series after Tiga would take inspiration from this, including Kamen Rider Kuga, the series that revived Kamen Rider.
That dude's always around somehow. Man.
Always up in your business, yeah.
Always. You can't get away from it.
Shade says, from then on, the form changes get even crazier and crazier like you see today, with Gavv's marshmallow and potato chip forms. All right, that's it for me today. I'm off to a Superman movie marathon because I'm still on high after the new movie, Up, and Away. That's cool. Superman movie marathon. Have you ever been to a movie marathon in a theater, Toby?
I don't think so. Not specifically a marathon. Maybe an actual double feature in theaters when I feel like that it was a more common thing.
Oh yeah.
But never like we're powering through all these episodes 1, 2, and 3 kind of things.
I went to one. It was early on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I don't remember which film was like debuting. But it was before one of the early Marvel films. It might have even been like the first Avengers or something. There was a marathon where they played all of the Marvel movies up to that point in a row, and then played the new one, whatever the newest one was at the time.
Yeah.
So it was basically however long it was like you show up to the theater like kind of the night before or like the kind of the middle of the day before, and the movie started airing, and they went kind of all night. And then like the new one aired like at midnight or whatever, they can actually play it.
Yeah, like that. I do know that they always like work the clock backwards of we can't start this until midnight. So we just, if this movie's 2 hours, then we start at 10. And if this movie's another 2 hours, and we start at 8, and just kind of like reverse time.
Yeah. So it was exactly that. And there were a few enough movies that it was like kind of manageable. It was still a long time to spend in a theater, but it wasn't like 4 days worth, right? It was probably
like 3 or 4. Like the new one was like probably the 4th, and they showed like the first 3 before.
Yeah, it was along those lines. But even that was like they kind of were like, yeah, so like keep your ticket stubs, like you guys can kind of just come and go as you please. Just like you can bring food in here if you want to, because it was attached to a mall. So they were like pretty cool about it. They're like, we know you guys have to eat food, so like you can bring food in here, just like try to clean up after yourselves. So that theater got pretty stinky after all those movies and all those idiot nerds bringing all their stupid like hot wings or whatever in there. It was an experience that I'm glad that I did, but I don't know that I would do again.
What a baby.
I just feel like I don't need to be in a movie theater with that many people for that long anymore. That's all.
Yeah. I see.
Toby, why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
So many places. On Twitter, Life of Tobes. On YouTube, Tobes Plays. On Retro Achievements, Tobes Plays. And on Horse Girl Game, Toby Tobes.
Yeah, you can find me on so few places. I make it very easy. You find me on...
Gosh, I'm D ranked in Horse Game. I wanted you to bite on that reveal so much harder after me dunking on that game for 2 weeks, and you're just like, oh, whatever.
So you're actually being serious? You're actually in the game? You're playing?
I've played almost the entire time. I'm D rank, which is like
I don't even know
2 weeks worth of commitment. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because you start like F, and then it's like E minus E plus D. I'm D.
Hey, I'm impressed. I thought it was just one more dunking on the game. I didn't realize that that was a real reveal that you were doing just now.
Oh yeah. You can actually add me as a friend on Uma Pretty Derby.
Well, there you go.
At Toby Tobes. I do my dailies every day real nice. I've learned nothing about any of the girls because it's on double fast forward and skip all the races.
Hell yeah.
It's literally just me click the buttons and then make the numbers go up.
Why'd you let me explain how the game worked like an asshole then? I played it for like 2 hours and I gave up. You're the one who's over here grinding it every day.
I probably played it for 2 hours today alone.
You son of a bitch.
There, now I feel better.
All right. Well, you can find me on Blue Sky where I'll be ranting about Toby for the next 3 hours.
Hell yeah.
At meek.lol is my username. You can also find the show on Blue Sky at commonwritersucks.com. Of course, the comment writers do enjoy it when you subscribe to the podcast. So wherever you're listening to us at or watching us at, give us a subscribe. That'd be great. And if you are so generous, we also love reviews. If you're on a platform that will let you review us, that would be wonderful. Review us or tell a friend. All right. That is going to wrap us up for this week. We'll be back next time to talk about Gavv episode 44. But in the meantime, we hope you have a wonderful week, everybody. Peace.